What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Thrilos International, your number one English source for all things Olympiacos. My name's Costa. I'm joined by Labros, Irmos, the one and only.
Hey there.
All right, guys. Well, I imagined that the beginning of the season to be a little bit different to what it's been. Okay, we've won 3 games, drawn one, lost one. First defeat today against ARIS 2-1 in Thessaloniki. We were looking to respond from the last game, 0-0 draw against Panathinaikos at home, which was alarmingly disappointing. The alarm bells were already ringing after the game against Panathinaikos, and if the alarm bells were ringing last week, then I'm not quite sure I have the words on the tip of my tongue as to what we can say after today's game against Aris and what we witnessed. We're here to talk about it. As usual, guys, don't forget, like and subscribe. Help us to keep growing. Bloody, I can't even speak. Help us keep growing the red and white community, bringing together more Olympiacos fans from all over the world. We're here, good times and bad. Today's a shitty night, but we don't have time to rest on our laurels. There's a game on Thursday against Lyon as well. We'll talk about why that's important as well, because the way that this team's been built, the way that this team plays under Mendilibar, there's lots of things we can talk about. Get your comments into the chat. We're going to be here for at least a nice hour to talk with you guys and get our thoughts down on post-match analysis, what we think. So with that introduction, Labro, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm not doing good. I'm upset today. Like you mentioned alarm bells going off. I think social media is like a hydrogen bomb has gone off. People are really mad. It's been bumbling up from all summer with the transfers, the issues with Podens, with Fortunis. And you know what? I'm gonna come out and I kind of want to talk about a few things that I'm thinking about after seeing the game with Panathinaikos, seeing the comments by the president about players talking about their contract after that game, and then the game tonight. So I was really encouraged by this summer. I know people on here are gonna go in, but I'll explain my logic. Olympiacos youth team won essentially the Champions League of youth football, like beating the best academies in Europe with 5 or 6 players that are super exciting, who took it, took had a great preseason, played really well. And I think us here at Thrilos International, we've been here for years talking about like our hope to see young players come into Olympiacos and start playing. And so when we started seeing things, Olympiacos may not get Andre Orta because Bakulas and Musakitis will play in his position. They're super exciting for us. And they were playing great in the preseason, and it was exciting. And now we're at a place where we've had 5 games, as you explained, Costa, and the positions that we thought that these players would be in, let's go through it. Kostulas, third striker, Musakitis, Bakulas in the 8 position, almost Chiquinho, or where I guess Eze was playing a little bit today as well. And then you have Koutsidis, and I think, is that all of them?
Papacanelos.
Papacanelos is the attacker one. Exactly. That's an important one. But it's been game after game that they are not included into the squad list. And I feel a bit, I'll come out and say, like, did I completely make a mistake? Like, come out here and like say that to all of you. When I was analyzing the team and seeing these players, was I like, I know a lot of you had alarm bells going off, but I felt more calm because we had these players and we were making small additions, and we tried with Fortunis, and I came on here. We tried with Podence, and guys, like I said it, like numbers are floating everywhere and like what is actually offered, but like most clubs in Europe these days just can't compete with can't compete with like Saudi money. So I kind of had accepted Podence, I accepted Fortunis, but you know what I don't want to accept and what I won't accept tonight, like, is the complete betrayal of this plan to use the youngsters and to have them in certain positions, because it's just, you know, if we didn't get Horta, if we didn't get Podence, we didn't get Fortunis back, and we didn't get Ibora back, who was going back to Spain, you know, at least we had those young players, you know, who could play a role, right? Like if we didn't bring Horta back, at least we would see Musakitis. And now we're seeing like, you know, the worst of all worlds, where it's like we are like, you analyze the roster here and we're 5 players short right now because those U20 players are completely not considered. So we don't have enough creativity. Even with Papacanelos, we needed another creator. Without him, we need 2, in my opinion. It's just we need to stay calm, not freak out. The worst case scenario would be to go get some washed up free agent from the market. We've got to live with the mistake, and with Masuras coming back and with a slightly smaller roster, unfortunately, that is the scenario. But I think coming here tonight, like, I just want to come out and say to our fans, like, I'm disappointed with, I don't know whose decision it is, the club, Mendilibar, that these exciting young players that we thought would be playing a role in this team this season are nowhere to be seen. When we're throwing, when Mendilibar is putting on Biancon and Costinha in search of a goal in the second half, 2-0 down against ARIS, something has not gone right. Something has not gone right. I think those are my first thoughts. Like, I'm reconsidering like my whole take on this. I think we had a positive, in some aspects, we had a positive summer and we made some good moves, but it feels like it is not complete. And if the youngsters are not a part of the roster, I think there's clear holes here. And I just do not understand why we were dropping this opportunity to play those kids, because Danny Garcia, man, like Stamanic, this is not
No,
what
dude.
we signed up for, man. Like, this is not what we signed up for. If we're not getting Horta, if we're not getting Nobora, I for sure did not sign up for Danny Garcia. And like to the fans who I came out here and I was positive and I was excited and I said this and that, like, we're gonna see these young players, we're gonna see this. Like, I almost want to apologize because I feel like I was wrong. Like, and people who were doubting them actually getting an opportunity were right. So I thought it would be different this time, you know, and I'm incredibly disappointed. So that's my monologue to start. And that's what I'm feeling tonight. Like, I did sign up for Danny Garcia, Oliveira, who Oliveira I don't think is the worst player in the world, but I didn't sign up for Costinha and Biancon coming off the bench to try to rescue a draw. And I'll leave it at that, Costa. Like, that's not what I was signing up for.
No, but the thing is as well that this club just does not afford you the luxury of time.
Yeah.
And I think that Oliveira and Willian are good players. Doesn't mean they'll be successful here. I mean, there've been better players than Oliveira that have come through, and, you know, top players that have joined the club. Just, you know, couldn't hack it for this reason or another. And one of those reasons, I think, is just you're not afforded time. If you're gonna become an important part of this club, like this Olympiacos team, you need to hit the ground running. And I hear all the, you know, Willian needs time, Oliveira needs time because he wasn't playing, need to get him match fit. And I understand, even, you know, that there's two different ways of looking at this, right? Or 3 even. There's a big discussion about whether or not the board supported the manager after doing what he did last season with the team. Now, there are other questions that you can ask around that. I mean, we were hearing things like the manager wanted Bautista from Spain to be his second option up front. You know, his first kind of signing this summer was Danny Garcia. It was a player that he absolutely wanted to bring in. And yeah, okay, I'm no expert on La Liga. I've never watched Danny Garcia play, but you know, is Danny Garcia a player in midfield that's going to make a difference? That's going to crack open defenses in Greece? I think one of the things that's become very, very clear now since Mendilibar joined is that he hasn't figured out the formula in Greece. Or like, has he figured out that 85%, if not like 90% of the games that we're going to play, that's the kind of opponent, or that's the way they're going to set up. And they, you know, anybody that's scouting us, that's preparing for a match against Olympiacos, will just watch the game today and the game against Panathinaikos and say, okay, you know, well, just give them the ball and let them try and break us down, and we're going to have our opportunities to break and score like they did on the first goal early today. And mate, it's worrying when I thought we were going to go through the game today and we wouldn't score. And I think, okay, 2 games, no goals, not good. But what I wanted to, and I want to come along and go through some of the comments from the fans. It's heating up in the comment section as well. But in response to what you said, one of the things I'm kind of disappointed about is that we've had a proper preseason for the first time since 2015. After Marco Silva left, since then, I think end of the 2015, 2016 season, when Victor Sanchez came in, we started playing qualifiers every summer. And this was the first one where we didn't have qualifiers. And we looked all right in preseason, man. Like, and the young kids, you mentioned Mousakitis. I want to talk about Mousakitis and Bakoulas.
Yeah.
By the end of the preseason, I'm thinking these guys have to play. Like, they have to be playing. They've got loads of games during the preseason. They played with first team players, performed well.
Both played really well. Played really well. Some of the best players on the pitch. It's like
and nowhere to be seen the last 2 games. So it is
not even nowhere to be seen. Like, not in squad lists. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing with the squad list? Like, what?
But that's the thing, right? For me, they're clearly being sacrificed for the. All right, we brought in Oliveira and Willian on deadline day. Coach, now you need to get them bedded into the team, and bedding them into the team is like we're having kind of another mini preseason. These first 5 games of the season, if you think about it, it's like we're in preseason and we're not playing like proper matches. Papacanelos didn't have a great preseason, in my view. Like, out of the 5, I think he was the one, like 4th or 5th. The standouts were the 2 central midfielders. Kostulas, less so. Like, it was really the 2 midfielders, and they're nowhere to be seen. Bakoulas played in the first. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did Bakoulas play in the first game? He came on as a sub. Maybe not. I think it was just Kostulas. Bakoulas played in that game against Forest when we played Nottingham Forest at home. I remember he played. And Mousakitis came on, I think, in the last friendly against ARIS in Cyprus. But mate, like I've said it before. I think Mousakitis is one of the most creative midfielders that we have on this roster. Is able to like see things happening off the ball. Like, he's got good vision. Danny Garcia, Heze, like Heze's vision's all right. Like, he played there was one good cross into El Kaabi in the first half today, where the ball bounced in front of him and he headed it like right into Cuesta. So there's this trade-off that Mendilibar has to work through. Is on the one hand, I can go with the risk of playing the youngsters, whatever risk you calculate, or I have to start getting Oliveira and Willian bedded into the team so that, you know, when I get into October, they're in rhythm. Because if you don't give them game time now, when are they going to get match fit? So it's a bit of a tough one there when those 2 players have been brought in on big contracts on deadline day, and we can have a whole other hypothetical discussion on whether or not Mendilibar actually wanted those players. And I'm not like saying I know he did or he didn't, but there's a hell of a lot of speculation. So like the whole discussion about Podence and Fortounis is just not going away.
Yeah,
it's not going away. but it's just too early to say for those two, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
And that's a bit of a boring thing to say, but it's what it is, man.
I
Like
don't think
Willian's,
Oliveira is a bad player. Like I want to say this, like I've seen some traits where he seems interesting, but Oliveira doesn't make sense in a midfield where you already have Heze, Stamanic, Garcia, and for me, Doi should be the starting six for Olympiacos. I'll come out and say that. And so it doesn't. Oliveira would have made a lot of sense to sign in June, but now it's just like, where are we trying to force this guy to play? And it feels like a mistake. It feels like if we could rip up Danny Garcia and Stamanic's contract right now, it would be for the good of the club. Like if we told Danny Garcia and Stamanic, like, you can go right now in September, it would make sense more for the club, numbers wise, and for the midfield, like, which is an odd thing to say. So
do you want to hear? Do you want to hear something, mate?
Tell me.
If you put Sergio Oliveira, Marco Stamanic, and Danny Garcia into one player, it wouldn't make half of what Iborra brought to this team last season.
Yeah. I said it. I said it. He was so important, man. And the thing with Iborra was he was older, right? He was 35, but Iborra didn't create his like insane career because of pace and being able to run. And it was like all here, like mental positioning, headers, tackles, like, so he could
5 European trophies. Is it 5 with ours?
Yeah. Yeah. He's really missed. He's really missed. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's really missed.
He really just like gave presence to that midfield. And a lot of people will focus on Podence and Fortunis, but I still insist, like, we haven't replaced him. We haven't found the chemistry in midfield. I talked about it on a video I did earlier this week with Marshall.
Yeah.
In my view, Stamanic should be a backup to Heze. And it probably, the way it is now, Oliveira's the player that you play next to him, or Chiquinho. In Greece, you play Chiquinho in a deeper role. And I know there have been some comments about this already. In Europe, play Chiquinho as a 10. It did it worked.
Yeah.
It worked well for us in Europe last season because we're on the back foot. We're not the favorite. We're not the favorite. We weren't favorites in any of the games we played against Aston Villa, Fener, or in the final. We were favorites against Maccabi, and we ate 4 goals.
Yeah.
In the home game, and then the footballing miracle happened with the Olympiacos passion and belief, but okay, that was like, it was a footballing miracle that happened that night. But
also,
yeah, man.
Can I say something? Like, it's not just Fortunis and Podence who are missing for me. It is also, I know he is free still, it's Ytic, man. Like, I think the final really turned when Fiorentina had to take off Bonaventura and some of their players, and we brought Ytic instead of Fortunis as they started to tire. Ytic was also very important at the end. Like, most of the season, not real huge contributor, but Mendilibar sort of unlocked him, and I know there was issues where he wanted to play more, etc., but Ytic in place of Fortunis sometimes, and in place of Podence was important. And also the profiles, sometimes something I was thinking about today while we were watching is Yaramchuk and El Kabi are not good profiles next to each other. Like it feels like Kostula should be a second striker. Like Kostula's hold up play is like better than both of them. Like Kostula's has incredible hold up play. He's like, he plays really well with the defender at his back, one touch and go. And we're missing him. Like even El Arabi, someone just commented, like,
yeah,
just someone like that. We're missing certain profiles that we had, So we have to. The problem for the manager is he has to figure it out, right? He's not going to figure it out like last season. He has a new set of issues that he's got to figure out, and he needs to lean into the youngsters. Like he needs to. It'll fucking save his job. It'll save his job, man. Like it'll save him.
Man,
Yeah,
it's literally looking a lot like Seville. Like he went into Seville to try and fix things, and he fixed it, and they won the Europa League. And then early into the season, he gets sacked. After that, I'm not saying that's going to happen here, but it's a similar situation in which he came in to fix things. He fucking fixed them for sure. Yeah, it was. We all know how last season ended, but now he's got to build something.
yeah.
And fixing something and building something are two very different things.
And Costa, what you said about like the warning signs for this were everywhere last season. Like I know a lot of people um think back to last season, they think about the final, the European games, but like if you don't, like we had a real chance to win the title there and we dropped stupid points, like stupid games. Like I remember Aris away, he changed the center back pairing Mendilibar and fucked it. There were games in Greece that were just mind-boggling, like poor decisions, inability to figure it out. And I'm starting to think back, like, and I think someone commented here that like this team is better placed to perform in Europe than it does against like deep low block Greek
Yeah,
sides.
yeah, it's
Completely.
clear.
Like I think
We'll see that. We'll
I
see that
wouldn't
on
be
board.
surprised. I will not be
Yeah,
surprised. Like
if we win.
serious, if we go there and we fucking win, because the system
Yeah.
we have is meant to go play counterattacking direct football. Like that's what El Cabi is good at. That's what fucking Velde needs. Space, Gelson Martins as well. You know, it would not be a fucking surprise if we go there and we do something. But it's this Greek puzzle that he needs to fix and figure out. You know, it's something that blocked him when he came last year. Like he was able to do very well in Europe, but like he did have trouble figuring it out in Greece. Like this thing with the center back pairing too, of like with Retsos injured, like I'm gonna sub Biancon, I play Pirola, but I'll sub Carmo, and then he's also got to
That's
figure
hard
that
though.
out too.
That's hard though, man. Like the situation at centre back for me is not an easy one for him. And I agree with you though. Like I think it's a calamity that the last two subs that we had to bring on today were a centre back and a right back. And you think, okay, what are we going to do here? We're going to put Costinha up at right mid or bring up Rodinei and take Costinha back to right back.
Like, would you rather like, no
Mate,
matter the opinion, you know, I know Masura's injured, but like,
100
okay,
times,
would you
100
rather have
times,
like fucking Papa Canelos
100,
or
100 times.
Musakitis or Bakulas instead of fucking Costinha and Rodinei? Like,
Yeah,
I
but
don't
yeah,
know.
but then if you don't take Costinha and Rodinei gets injured during a game, then what are you going to do? Okay,
Yeah.
you could argue you have Biancon. It's true if you look at our bench, we only had Willian as a wing option to bring on.
Yeah.
But at this point, mate, I would have had Papacanelos on the bench. For the record, the under-19s played Aris today and they won 4-0. All of our
But
boys.
so are these guys playing like Bakulas and
Yeah,
all? They're playing for the
yeah.
U19.
Bakulas, Musakitis, Papacanelos, Costulas, they all play.
How fucking stupid are we? Like, I don't understand. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
They all
Like,
play, man.
why the fuck are they playing in these stupid Greek under 19 games? Like, they are ready for fucking professional football. I don't understand. We were told they were going to be in the fucking roster and they're playing under 19 games against Aris. Like, make it make sense. Like, make that is what frustrates me the most. Like, what are we doing, man? What are we doing? It's just
Let's see. Let's take a little break and go and have a look at some of the comments here.
yeah, pull them up.
What do we got? Okay.
Fucking
Psyche's
Greek
here.
League under 19. Are you fucking kidding me, man? Like, what a joke. What a fucking joke. Like, anyway.
Psyche says, "Hi there, another tough start without this time any plan of playing football, and it's a shame because it was the first time after a lot of seasons without qualifiers. That's something that we've commented on already." Dirmus Lona says, "If alarm was wrong against Panatolikos, then this alarm is an SOS signal." Okay, there you go. I couldn't find those words as one way of looking at it. What else have we got? Andreas Mitzis, long-time follower. This squad and this team will have difficulties in games with a lot of possession. The squad is better shaped for games without the majority of possession. It's what we were just commenting on as well from Andreas. Ukulele Nick says, I'm getting sick and tired of the told you we needed transfers and a 10. We need no extra or different players than the ones we already have. Passion, aggressiveness, first to the ball is all we need. That's one way of looking at it too, mate. I mean, big discussion on that topic overall, but certainly when you've looked at the team the first 5 games of the season, then you do detect a little bit of arrogance, a little bit of, we're going to score at some point and it's going to be fine. And there seems to be a lack of urgency. And the manager commented on that today as well. Pep Biel just scored for Charlotte, by the way. Sorry, anyway.
What did you say? Did you say Pep Biel scored? You
broke Pep Biel just scored for Charlotte. Yeah.
Like, seriously, Pep Biel... God. We were told, okay, Pep Biel is getting loaned out, like not even fucking sold, because we're going to make a move. Like, Pep Biel, as shit and as mediocre as he's been for Olympiacos, would have been helpful today instead of a fucking right back or Biancone as a sub. Like,
it's possible if they ever played him in his decent position. But
like, would you rather have started Eze, Chiquinho, Pep Biel today, like, than fucking Danny Garcia?
He could have. I don't know what it is, mate, because I said it on the video we did earlier in the week. Like, Willian as a 10, or not even strictly speaking, but just having a front starting 3, like having El Kabi or Yaremchuk up front as your point man, and then having Gelson, Willian, and Velde behind them, and they change positions, the 3 of them throughout the game. But it seems somewhat clear early on that he sees Willian clearly as a player to start his attacks from the left. Otherwise, mate, like since the beginning of the season, like Velde's been disappointing. He has been a bit underwhelming. Yeah. And I know that Ari said it in the scout report that he was worried about breaking down the low block defenses and that it would be difficult for him in Greece. Probably better for him in European games where he gets more space in front of him. But he's gonna, fans are gonna start losing patience with him. They've already a lot of people pissed off with Gelson Martins too, as well. To be honest,
Martins, I don't know if he picked up a knock or if he was just not trying today. I don't know if he's tired. I don't know. The 2 things with Gelson Martins when he came here that I worried about, first and foremost, was the injuries. It seems like he couldn't stay healthy, and I was worried. Like, very good player, and also major character flaws. And we're gonna really count on this guy, and I just hope he can keep it together. I know the guy's not the most stable, so it's just like, hopefully he's okay. Like, maybe he picked up a knock. I saw people talking about that.
I don't know.
But we had no one to replace him. Again, we had no one on the bench. So it's like, like, let's play the fucking youngsters in the U19 against ARIS U19 instead of having them on the fucking squad list just in case something happened. Like,
this comment here. Okay. Aris Pan says, just to play devil's advocate, remember what Yorgato said about Tsimikas. The exclusion of youngsters might be a test of their character and determination. I don't think it's even that deep, mate. Like, when Tsimikas was dropped back down to the under-19 levels, he had played, I think, a game against Larissa, and then he had a decent game, and then they dropped him from the squad. And I think I do remember Yorgato saying in an interview that was to test his character, how he would react to getting dropped from the squad. And then I think a couple of games later, Silva played him in a cup game. And then eventually he was loaned out to Denmark so that he can get more game time.
Yeah.
But I don't think it is. I don't think it is one of those situations where the managers kind of just decided with Kovacevic and the backroom staff to say, okay, let's send these kids back down and test their character and then bring them back up. I really don't think it's that well thought through. I really think it is just a question of we signed Oliveira and Willian. We need to give them time and we need to give them games.
See, I would understand that argument, but they haven't been in the fucking squad list for
There's no space.
even before those signings. But even before those signings,
They
weren't even
were.
in the list.
They were.
From the second game, they weren't, man. Like, it's a colossal mistake. We're making a huge mistake here. Huge mistake. And I want to say something that's like floating a bit under the radar, but is also very important. Ortega is fucking killing us in the attacking third. He's just killing us. And we really hope this guy would improve with the full preseason and moving forward. But fuck, man, like
he ate it down his side again today. I mean, I need to go back and watch it again.
The midfield did not cover well enough for me.
No.
It was a midfield issue as well. But it just feels like when bad things happen, he's always fucking around. You know what I mean? Like he's.
Man, I'm not gonna lie, man. Today I was thinking to myself today for the first time in a long time, bring me Ole Grabchuk back. Like, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, man. Like if it wasn't Pedro Martins running him into the ground, I'd still think Oleg's a good player to have on the squad.
Oleg would be more useful than Ortega. Like I will die on that hill. Like I think he's a much more. I do think like it's just an issue. Like the creativity, and like this isn't to say we can say that Rodinei has been in like pretty bad form. He can't hit across to save his life. Like it's like really bad. So there's a lot of the thing is there's a lot of things that we need to figure out. We have like 4 or 5 games before the October international break. It's going to be a fucking brutal stretch.
Do you know our fixture list?
It's going to be Lyon, Atromitos, Braga, Panathinaikos, and then you have like we're in scary territory. We can say that now.
That's not an easy fixture list. Going away to Lyon, coming back, playing Atromitos at home, which is traditionally a pretty tough fixture. Like I can remember quite a few 0-0s with Atromitos at home, and then Braga at home with Gunakias coming back, Carvajal coming back with Horta. Like that, there's a story there for sure. There's a story there for sure.
Garcia is Atromitos, someone wrote in the chat.
Yeah. And then Panathinaikos away before the break. Like,
yeah, it's brutal. Yeah,
it's a tough fixture list, and the players need to pull it out. Like they need to pull their finger out for the manager too. I'm just going to say that, because these 4 games, if we don't get results, is he in trouble?
Yeah, this Olympiacos, of course, is in trouble. Good or bad, he's like in trouble. Good or bad, he's in trouble. Like, there's one constant that everyone in this chat and listening, watching, wherever you are, know about this club. It's like you start off slow, you drop results, you don't do well. It doesn't matter. Like they fire people. Oh, let's just pull this up, bro. Look at my eyes, DC. What do you want us to do? You want me to say, oh, Marinakis is the worst. He doesn't spend money. That's why everything's bad. Okay, there we go. I just included your fantastic analysis into the podcast. The players are not playing well. Like the players are good enough to get results against fucking Panathinaikos at home and against ARIS away. So it's the board has faults. We're literally talking about this right now. So what do you want us to say? Like, I don't understand this.
But
Because
there's so
we got a
many
reply on Twitter
people,
too
man.
that says like we're now like, you know, we're being fed, you know, we're on payroll these days. We're not criticizing the board enough. They didn't spend money. They didn't give money to Podence. They gave Fortunis. You guys are shoveling their propaganda. So, guys, what are we talking about? Like here, like what are we do? Like what are we talking about? It's like insane. It's kind of insane, but okay.
There's
We're just
another
trying to
comment.
fucking analyze, you know, like what we try to do here is we just try to analyze the situation as best as we can. We're not professional journalists. We just come here. We want to talk. We want you to have your opinions. Please share your opinions and we can talk about it. But we're not going to get into this game, you know, of like we're paid off. We're giving positive feedback only to the Mighty Next family and to the club. So let's just put that to bed. So
Concept Calcio says last season showed us that anything can change during a season. I'm usually a moaner, but calm and patience are needed. Last year we went from max toxicity and shit results to European trophy. I don't think you're one of the moaners, mate. I think you're normally pretty balanced, I would say.
I like to moan. I like to complain. Remember when I got like, you guys remember like how, yeah, I got hate comments, you know, from people who were like, Labrador always does a complain, why isn't he positive enough? Like got hate mail for how negative I am. And now like I'm sitting here battling off the negative people. Look at me. But I would say my negativity though, like there's sides to the negativity, Costa. Can we go through that? You want to talk about that? Like there's
Sure.
the people who are like, we didn't resign Fortunis, Podence, Jovetic, and Horta. The club are cheap fucks. They fucked us. They fucked the manager. Like, fuck you all. You ruined it. You destroyed the European trophy. So there's like those people, I think, right? There's definitely that's like the majority of people. Like those of you in the comments, like raise your hand and be like, yeah, that's us. And then there's people like I think me, you, and Adi, who when we analyzed the roster, like we were happy with a lot of the moves, you know, like we lived through summers of like signing such shit players, like
Garbage.
finished players, just garbage, like 20 to 30 players. Guys, like look back at some of Adi's like fucking deep dive guys, like on Joe, on fucking Abu Bakar Kamara, like we suffered so much for fucking Nicolas Ferrer. We signed so many shitty players, man. So many shit players. And this summer, you know, some of the moves early were good, some were not as good, but like they were interesting. We analyzed. We didn't buy too many players. We didn't buy shitty players, you know, and we thought we were going to get Podence at the end of the window. Like, I think we all thought we were going to get Podence at the, like Costa, I think you would agree with that. Like, we were feeling pretty confident until this Saudi team came in, you know?
For
So that was
Fortunis.
really, no, for Podence. I think Fortunis
Podence,
was gone.
yeah.
I think Fortunis was
Yeah.
gone.
Fortunis was gone.
Regardless of Conference League, I think the toxicity had just destroyed. Like he wanted one last paycheck. He wanted away from toxicity of Greek football. Like retired from the national team. He was like, whatever happened. Last season was difficult, man, for a lot of the players. Like for Fortunis, man. I think
like it's been a tough couple of years for him, man. Like not just last season, the season before that, the stuff with Martines. It's been through a lot of shit.
I think Fortunis was gone, regardless. Like I don't think he was coming back. We could have offered him the full 3. I don't think he was coming.
I think if it was like 80-20 chances that like 80% gone, 20%, or even less, more like 90-10 for me. But anyway, that we don't need to.
But anyway, the thing is, I think the thing we're trying to make is like we try to remain positive. You know, we try to remain positive and analyze things as they are. And you know, Adi with data analysis, like was super excited with the young players. I think we were all super excited to the young players. And so now that we're hearing like, yeah, we're down 2-0. Bakulas Musakitis, Papacanelos, and Kostulas are busy playing Aris U19. So we're going to fucking throw on Biancon and Costinha to help win the game. Like, what the fuck is that, man? I don't know who makes that decision. Like, why don't you give yourself the options? We're light. We're light in the wings and the attacking positions. Like, I
And
don't
Masuras wasn't
understand.
even on the bench today.
Masuras is missed, man. Like, people are gonna laugh at this, but like,
No,
fucking
it's true.
Masuras is missed. Is missed, man. He
It's the kind
scores
of game that he scores in, mate.
Also, fucking Retsos, I know I shit on him a lot, is missed.
Mate,
Is missed. His build up out of the back is missed. It's missed. It's missed.
But that's it, mate. Like, you know, I didn't finish my track of thought, or I got sidetracked on the centre back discussion, because it was difficult, I think, for the manager. Like, he's lost Retsos at the beginning of the season. He knows that ideally he wants to go into this season playing Retsos and Carmo. He's not able to do that. Birola's been playing really well.
Yes.
I think he's been one of our best players since the beginning of the season. He's been solid. It's difficult to take him out. It's difficult to take Birola out. It's not fair, actually.
Like,
it's not fair on him.
Can we not? We've played so many times with two right-footed central defenders. So it's like, why the fuck can we not play with two? I don't understand that.
He won't do it. He won't do it because the way he, like, let's be honest, man. If a manager, like a normal manager, he's got a left-footed centre-back and a right-footed centre-back. He's going to play a left-footed centre-back and a right-footed centre-back. It's the flow of and movement of the ball. It's just quicker when the ball's going across field. You know, if you're on your weaker foot, it's not the same. You're slowing down the ball movement. If you've got players on the right side of the pitch with the right foot or the left, it's just, the ball just moves faster. It's as simple as that. Yeah, it's as simple as that. But I take your point. Like, there's you look around all the top leagues. Not everyone plays or has the luxury of having a top quality left-footed centre-back, and they play with two right-footed centre-backs. So why can't you play with two left-footed ones? Yeah. But I've always been pretty sure of this, that he would just not do it. And that's why we see the tinkering. That's why we see Biancon replacing Retsos in I think, was it the first game of the season we played Volos? It was Biancon that played with Birola. And then Doi got pulled back, as he did, was it the last game with Birola, and today Carmo's come in, played next to Doi. So I wasn't really surprised in that regard. But I do want to say that I think it's a tough one for the manager, like with the centre backs, because Biancon had a pretty decent preseason. Like, Doi had a good preseason. Who do you play? And that's a shit position to be in going into the game on Thursday too, man. Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be Karma and Doi, to be honest with you. I think it'll be those two. But there's no doubt I would want, like, we want Retsos Karma partnership back.
What's going to lose us the game on Thursday? I'm pretty confident there's going to be a fuck up at the back. Like, there's going to be Ortega. There's going to be Doi. That's what's going to be it, man. It's that's the issue we're looking at. I think. I don't know. It's a really difficult spot. You know, like, there's so many fucking issues now that you go into it. You know, Doi, ideally, Danny Garcia was injured all preseason. Yeah. And we needed to win this fucking game against Aris. He hasn't played at all, like, barely. And we started him. Man. Like,
that was a weird decision today, I have to say.
Why? Like,
look at the options that he has in midfield. He's got Eze's the guy that never leaves the starting lineup.
He's got to play Doi at the fucking 6. Like, the sooner he realizes he needs to play Doi at 6 and Biancon at right center back, because that's it, the sooner he's going to figure it out. You can't, this bullshit with Stamanic, Garcia, and then like
Stamanic,
Oliveira, and then
Stamanic is going to start on Thursday. I'm telling you that
it's
now. But that's a European game, remember.
we fucked up the 6th position so bad, in my opinion. In the preseason, this is another thing with the fucking preseason. Doi played really well. At 6, he's a good player. I'll die on this hill. Doi at the 6 is a decent player. Like, he's a serviceable player. At the center back position, he's not. Like, and I'll die on that fucking hill. And we're going to die on that hill, I think. So, it's fucking depressing. It's fucking depressing. It's really depressing.
Guys, we're 48 minutes through. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It's been hundreds of you coming into the chat post-match. Aris, there's about 30 likes, which is pretty pathetic. Come on, guys. It literally takes you 2 seconds. Just if you're with us live, hit that like button. It costs you nothing. It means everything to us. Help us keep growing the red and white community.
Yeah.
Right. Oh god, here's another one of those comments from MDM. Olympiacos didn't give 2 million to Fortunis, didn't give 4.5 million for Horta. Mendilibar rejected Ziyech. Guys, where's Ziyech playing right now? Nowhere. He's at Galatasaray's bench, to be precise. Nobody took him, not even a Saudi team.
UAE or something?
No, he's at Galatasaray. He's rotting on the bench. And guys, like, you're gonna think that I'm singing from the Olympiacos board hymn sheet, but did we have that 6 million, like the 4.5 million plus the 2 million plus the 6 million that we didn't give to Wolves plus the 3 million a year? How much is that now? 15 plus million that we didn't give. Did we have that to give? And if it brought us into financial difficulties in the summer next year and we had to sell 3-4 key players instead of one, what would you be saying next summer? It's not all like, oh, and don't look at what Ajax doing, because Ajax in a different situation from us. We're paying for the last 3 summers. We sacked 6 managers in the last year and a half or whatever it is. Who's paying their wages? You think they just decided to get up and leave? That they don't have compensation fees? You think that James Rodriguez just got up and left when we didn't pay his full salary or some percentage of it? You think Marcelo just decided to cut his contract and give the money back? Come on, guys.
Abubakar Kamara, big Versalco.
The 47 players that are on our roster. Not anymore, because we got rid of like 30, 35 this summer.
De La Fuente. You know how many contracts we ripped?
Ola Solbakken. Yeah. Gustavo Scarpa. All of these contracts, like failed players. Pep Biel being loaned left, right, and centre now. Pep Biel got an assist, by the way, as well. Goal and assist for Pep Biel today.
Ramon, Aris mentioned, bring the legend back. Let him compete for the starting role.
Bloody hell.
You know, and this is the problem. Before we read Yanni's comment, this is the problem with the club, I think, that they have not been able to figure out. And I think this is very difficult in a Greek reality to communicate that we cannot do these things because we fucked up so bad the last 3 years. It's not that we're financially unable. It is because there are rules in European football that will not allow us to do these things. So we have to pick. Olympiacos didn't have a sale we didn't have a big sale, this summer to fund some of the moves.
No,
there were that shitty striker.
Yeah,
like they sold that shit striker Ponce for like 10 million euros, man. That helps. That helps a lot. Like we don't even have that. We don't have that. We have
sold
nothing.
Like Agibu for 2.5 or something to Ludogorets, and then there was another one that was around that kind of fee.
There's a reason last year all we could do was loan players in, right? It's like there's a reason for that, because we seriously have bad financial fair play issues. Next summer, like it would be nice to bring Ari onto the podcast to explain, but like next summer, there's no FFP. Like we won't come on here and try to spin that and explain that, because we should sell Heze for big money next summer, and we should have all of these old contracts from the past 3 years kind of like off of the FFP. So we should have more freedom, but it's just the past few years we fucked up so bad as a club. You know, it feels bad, you know, like, because we had success last season. We won the European trophy and we had built a strong body on these loan players. But the issue was we literally could not keep them. We could not keep them because of our financial fair play issues, because we fucked up so bad the past few summers before. So, yeah.
Yeah, let's cross that bridge as well. When we sell Heze, what do we do after that?
Yeah, this fan base isn't ready for when we sell Heze to Nottingham Forest next summer, but that's a discussion.
Crystal Palace are apparently rumored to be looking at him. There was a report today. Anyway. Can't remember where that came out, but we've done business with Palace before. Milivojevic went to Palace, remember?
Yeah. But I will say...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, one thing Nikos talks about, what was the issue with Doi today when the team cannot do anything creatively and the ball gets in? What do you expect? Gelson was terrible today. I didn't really have a big issue with Doi today. Huge issue.
Even the yellow card that he got that led up to the goal, I thought was harsh. I thought it was a bit harsh. I
do think he's a bit better at the back. Like some guy mentioned, Labros, who wanted to get rid of Doi. One thing I want to talk about that is I talked about on a few podcasts that Doi was a valuable asset that we could sell for like 4 to 5 million euros with like a 20% sell-on clause. And our audience was kind of laughing at that, like no one will pay for that. But because Doi is 20, 21 years old and he plays consistently for Olympiacos, a lot of teams from abroad will pay that. That's like chump change, 4 million euros, 20% for a 21-year-old who's playing big games for the biggest team in Greece and played in Europe. So what I was saying, if we need to raise money to do some signings, Doi is a sellable asset and would be a good sale for us, in my opinion. That was kind of my argument. Yeah. And I think there were rumors that Doi had interest from abroad as well. Like there was like a article.
Seville was rumored.
Seville or like there's going to be teams who are not morons who are like, oh, this Doi guy is good at the 6. Like we can work with this. And we'll pay 4 or 5 million euros.
He's 21. People forget he's 21. He's been around a couple of seasons. That's why people kind of see him as an established player or established member of the squad. But he's 21.
Yeah. But my main thing is like Doi is an asset because there's going to be tons of clubs around Europe that are like, they're always looking for these type of signings, like 4 or 5 million euros. And we bring him here and we kind of like, we can fix and figure this out. He's young. He's got a lot of games. He's played in big matches, blah, blah, blah. He has these issues, but like maybe here in Spain, maybe here in Germany, we can like fix him, right? So he's a sellable asset and, you know, we'll see. And he needs to play at the 6, man. He needs to play at the 6. He would be very valuable in Europe as a ball winning 6. So anyway. Go on.
Speaking of 6s, Southpaw says, remember what we were saying about Iborra last September? I wasn't saying anything, mate. Same with Garcia.
I wasn't saying either. Put me in there too, okay?
Yeah. But same with Garcia, says Southpaw. I don't see it, mate. I don't see it. You just need to look at their CVs. All you need to do is look at their CVs. The last time we bought a player like Iborra into Olympiacos, it was probably Christian Carambo. Player that had won the World Cup, won the Champions League more than once with Real Madrid. Like he knew what it is to win. What has Garcia won in his career? I'm sorry if I'm being ignorant, but I don't. He
won the Copa del Rey last season
with Bilbao. That's great, like his home club, but is not exactly a serial winner, is he? Iborra's won it almost everything. Not almost everything, but the guy's won 5 European trophies, guys.
I'm not going to write Danny Garcia off completely, but there's
too many mids, man. There's too many mids.
We need to rip up some contracts. Like we made big mistake.
There's too many mids. We bought in Stamenic as our first signing of the summer, And honestly, I think we were texting over this before we came on, and I said Stamenic feels like that kind of signing that just appeared, and it's a Red Star signing, and you think, yeah, he's a good player, he's young, he did all right last season. Let's try him out.
Yeah.
He's tall. Ibora was tall, but the profiles are just nothing alike.
Yeah.
And honestly, like the couple of games that we've seen him play with Heze, and yes, it's early, and yes, last season at Red Star it took him time as well. I just don't see it, mate. I don't see those two, particularly in Greece. I don't think those two should be anywhere near each other on the pitch. And I hope that, maybe like people will clip this comment and take the piss out of me later on in the season. But I highly doubt it. I just can't see it. And again, going back to what we said, Heze is your for sure always the player that's like one of the first on the starting 11. Santiago Heze in midfield. But who do you play next to him? Who do you play next to him? You look at your options. Your Garcia, your Stamenic, your Sergio Oliveira. They're all kind of slow. I don't really get Danny Garcia yet, mate. I don't get what he's about. I don't know what he's about. He's just like he's one of those 6/8s, just like Heze. Doesn't give off like that.
Those Doi is the only proper 6, man. Like Doi is the only one where you're like, fucking stick him in there and he's gonna win the ball. He's physical,
as a 6/6,
yeah,
destroyer,
exactly.
That can get forward with his body. Yeah, he's the only one. He's the only one. I agree.
So, no, I completely agree. It's just a big headache now in the midfield it's just I think someone mentioned like, oh, look, we had Ibora, Horta, and Alexandropoulos last season, Stamenic, Oliveira, Garcia. Look, that's different. Those are like different profiles, like these guys are all very similar, like Stamenic, Dani Garcia, Oliveira. Like you were saying, Costa, it's like these are difficult profiles to mix and match. Anyway.
Yeah. Was it Rodinei that got the assist today?
Yes.
Yeah. Only Roddy creates another great assist.
Another factor, can we talk about lack of leaders maybe on the pitch? Like Rodinei is our captain. We haven't talked much about that. Like, is that an issue with Ibora gone, Poden's gone, Fortuni's gone, who's like the quiet leader, not really leader, quote unquote leader.
I think he did, like Fortunis did his talking with his feet, man.
Yeah.
Like he might not have been the most vocal person on the pitch, but he never shied away from the ball and he always looked to get on the ball and try and make things happen. Who do you have on the team today that can do that?
That was the worst part of Fortunis being the leader. Sometimes was too when he would go. He does this thing where he like mopes around and then he doesn't run. I remember West Ham away. Do you remember that? Was that last season?
I was at that game. Yeah.
Where he was just moping around and like it was like fucking come on, man. Like fucking, show something here. And then Paqueta shoved it to our fans and like no reaction, nothing. It was just like fuck, But
I mean, it is also perfectly plausible that I wouldn't say not that we're overreacting, but just that things do change. There's always that possibility.
For sure. I think the one thing though that we're going through now is like there's some serious issues. Like if we go through, like we're going through, like there's some issues that very well might be solved, but those exist and they're difficult. It's just a fact. It's just a fact. And, I think another aspect is just that we touched about the Elkabi, Yaramchuk. It's just not a solid partnership.
No.
It is not a good part. And that's where it's like, why is Kostulas not? So he can fucking bang goals against U19s? Like, what are we doing here? What? Honestly, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand. Like maybe some of them go play for the U19s, but like why? You don't have any wingers. You don't have that many options in the attack. Like why don't you fucking take one to do with these guys? Anyway, it pisses me off. But
Takis Karabetos wants us to grade the players. Well, since we're not going to do man of the match, maybe that might be an interesting one.
Mm.
Do you want to do it like real quick? Keeper, Zolagis. 6. But my starting grade is a 6.5. I go up and down from 6.5
I'm a
just to
bit
set the
yeah.
basis.
Sometimes it felt like he was like a bit helpless, like a bit weak, like he kind of like need a bit more strength sometimes. But yeah, I don't think I need to look back at the goals, but I don't think they were savable. So what can I even say about
No,
that?
the first one wasn't. It was a lovely strike, like curled it into the bottom corner.
Yeah,
And then the second one was pretty much point blank. There's not a lot
it
he
was
could
near
do.
him, like he could, but
It was right in front of
it
him.
would have been
No, like
incredible
the
save.
striker was right in front of him. It's just like put his foot in and flash, bang, done. It's like a 6, and I'm probably being nice.
Yeah.
Ortega 5.
It's been really. Ortega feels so slow as well. Like just slow. Like he's not very quick, is he?
Can I say something? This is
Go on.
interesting. I think Marshall mentioned this in our chat. These players, they must feel like they have no competition. Rodinei is playing week in, week out. Castinia's getting cameo minutes at the end of this game and the last game, like 5-8 minutes, like garbage time. Ortega's got Apostolopoulos behind him. Does he feel pressure to perform, like at the best of his ability?
Mm.
It's like some players feel like there's no competition. El Kabi starting every game.
Yeah.
Okay, El Kabi got his goal today. It's like for his stats, good for him. But that's just something
Also,
that came to mind as well. I think it's a good point.
yeah. It's like the only play, yeah. On the wings, we have no depth, really.
No, not with
Masuras is out.
Masuras isn't an out-and-out winger anyway.
He's not
No,
available.
you
He's not.
don't really. You got Willian, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, he's been a winger most of his career. He played on the wing for Fulham, but is it really worth doing the grading exercise? It's
No,
like
it's
there's nobody that really stood out, and everyone was just below par. Everyone was below the average score. Everyone's below a 6.5.
Yeah. Yeah. Incredibly disappointing. I think the wing and the midfield, it's very awkward. Like I think someone used this word. Yeah, Nico says the same thing. The winger and midfield situation is awkward. We have many players that are just midfielders. Yeah, we don't. It's like a weird spot to be in. Really, we have a lot of midfielders who do the exact same thing, and then we don't have a lot of wingers. So it's just we don't have a backup left back, or we don't. I guess we do Apostolopoulos, but he's not even played yet this season. So, yeah, what can we do? Oh, you're on mute, Costa.
Labros, your rants were a form of art. Let loose, my guy, says Ari Pan.
I just don't have it in me. I'm washed up. No. It's not the moment. I think for the rants, like that's kind of, and Costa is heading out for a bit. I'll talk to you guys directly. The rants, like I don't have it for it right now. Like I don't want to throw the manager under the bus. I don't want to yell that he's terrible and that he doesn't have ideas. I don't think that's fair whatsoever. I don't want to go in on management at the moment. I'm frustrated. I'm very frustrated. But I also think that they're dealing with a lot of things that maybe it's their fault that they haven't communicated well, but they are reaping reward of their poor performance in the past with managers, with signings, and that's really handcuffed our work. And I really wish there was more Greek articles about this, like on Sport 24, on Todeka GR, like to explain why Olympiacos is restrained financially, not because the owner doesn't want to put the money in, but because if he does, we could get booted from Europe and disqualified for FFP reasons. So it's difficult. So let me go through some of your guys' comments now that Costa has left me. So what are we going to talk about here? What do you guys want to talk about? I've seen comments about Ramon. We need Ramon back. Let's see. Opinion about Willian. Is he overweight or looks like that because of cameras? Guys, I don't know about Willian. I think we're just going to have to wait and see. The guy came in, thrown right into it. I have no idea. I think he's interesting, not wowed us, but has shown some interesting things. Nico's asked me, who would I start? Guys, against Lyon, I would go with a lineup of Zolakis, Ortega, because I'm forced to, Carmo, and here's where it gets more interesting. So I would either start Biancon or I'd seriously consider maybe Pirola. Since they haven't played together, I'd start Biancon at right center back. I'd play Rodinei. And then in the midfield, I'd play Heze with Doi and with Chiquinho. And then attacking, I would say I would play Velde, Martins, and El Kabi. So that would be lineups. If you guys want to give some lineups for Thursday in Lyon for the tough game, I kind of want to hear what you guys have to think. There's reports that Retsos and Masuras are trying to come back. Too early for them to start, I would assume. So we'll see. Who would you guys start on Thursday? Kind of interested. And Alex says here, one of the best things about today is we had 3 great free kicks. Yeah, guys, the free kicks looks good. Better today from Chiquinho and was it Oliveira who took one as well? So, and Andrea says here, we have more subs in European matches. That's true. So maybe the youngsters come with us to Lyon and then sit on the bench. So Aris says Pirola, Carmo, and Doi in midfield would be interesting. I think so. Nick says, so what we the fans shall do now? I will support because of duty, but what management is going to do? Every issue we have this year is not clear, introversion at its finest. You know, we gotta support the team. You know, that's what we do as fans. We have questions. We're going to criticize. We're going to make comments. That's what we're here to do, right, guys? That's what we're here to do. We're supposed to talk about the games and talk about what's going on. So Nico says, I would risk Heze, Chiquinho, Muzakitis in the midfield, Willian, El Kabi, and Gelson. That's interesting. Guys, I think Velde, his characteristics are better for an open European style match, so I wouldn't bench Velde, but I do have concerns that Gelson Martins is fit. I think we're going to be hearing reports about that. I would play Velde against Lyon. I would prefer that. Martins, I hope, can play as well. And do the Mendilibar 4-4-2 that was famous for us in Europe, just this time with Velde and Martins instead of Fortunis and Pontens. That's what I do. And Doi instead of Ibora. That's kind of what I would do. So we have Louis who says, Zolakis, Ortega, Carmo, Koutsidis, Rodinei, Heze, Bakulas, Chiquinho, Velde, Martins, El Kabi. So Louis wants a full sort of academy rotation.
Are these lineups for Thursday?
I asked for lineups from Thursday. You want to give your own? I'll give you mine. I gave Zolakis, Ortega, Carmo, and this is where I get interesting. I consider Pirola. They haven't played together, so I'll say no. So I'm going to put Biancon at right center back, and I'm going to put right back Rodinei. I'm going to play Doi together with Heze, Martins, Velde, Chiquinho, El Kabi. That is my lineup. I really would prefer Doi in the midfield for Thursday against Lyon.
Lyon have got an interesting attack. Their defense is pretty shit on paper. I just read out some of the names. Hang on. Up front,
they have a big
they've
derby
got
tomorrow
players like
as well. Big derby
Are
tomorrow
they
against
playing Marseille
OM.
tomorrow?
They play OM
They're
tomorrow.
playing Marseille tomorrow. Ooh, okay.
Biggest game of the season for
So
both
they've got
those two.
yeah. That's like the Olympiacos Panathinaikos game almost. They're not from
Yeah.
the same city, obviously, but that's a
It's,
hatred rivalry. All right, so Wilfred Zaha joined them. Apparently, he's not having too much of a great time in Lyon. They've got veteran Alexandre Lacazette, 33 years old now. George Mikautadze, I think he signed from Ajax. Pretty good player. Gift Orban, who lit it up in the Belgian league. He's been with Lyon for a while now. Said Benrahma, I think played against us last season when he was at West Ham. Then in midfield, they've got players like Matic, 36 years old, still good in my opinion. And Tolisso is a player that some of you might remember. Played for Bayern Munich, scored a cracker against us when we played them.
did his ACL once or twice, I think, as well.
I think he's been unlucky with injuries. Yeah. Ainsley Maitland-Niles is playing for Lyon.
According to Martial, one of their better players this year as well.
Puh. And then at the back, they've got they signed Musa Niakate from Forest, Chaleta Char that was at OM when we played them a few years ago.
Interesting.
And at the keepers, not really anybody I recognized. Anthony Lopez, some of you might remember, 33-year-old Portuguese keeper. I mean, they've definitely got some attacking flair.
They have Jordan Vertu as well.
Vertu from Marseille. They
have
him.
Nicolas Tagliafico at left back as well. Yeah. Benrahma, as you said.
He's not their starting option either.
Yeah.
He's not their starting option at left back. Who would I play? Okay, Zolagis in goal. I'd go Rodinei probably. Ortega because you've got no choice. Carmo. Centre back pairing.
He's gonna do Doi and play Stamenic.
Yeah,
right? But give us what you think.
What I would do.
Yeah.
I start from the front. You've got to go El Kabi, Velde, Gelson Martins, Chiquinho in that role.
Yeah.
In that role that we're familiar with in Europe. And it's really about the CB and the other centre midfield, isn't it?
Yep.
I think it's going to be Stamenic and Doi.
Yeah.
Like, there's risks. Biancon's a bit of a risk, man.
Biancon is for sure a risk, but he's also French and has played against Lyon before and knows some of these players.
Yeah, so. There's motivation for him. There's always motivation when you're, player like that going to their home country. He wants teams from League One to see him.
Has played European football for Monaco before as well in the Champions League. So
yeah, he hasn't played with Carmo.
No, you're right. That's why he's gonna. He hasn't played. And this is what I fucking mean with the center back pairing, man. Fuck, it's my one criticism. Like one of my criticisms of Mendy Libat is like we had 5 games and we're here and we're like, what the fuck are we doing at central defense? Like, what are we doing?
There's a very there is a scenario where he starts 3 at the back. He tried these funny formations in preseason.
There's no way he was what won him a Conference League. Surely he doesn't go away from 4-4-2. You think?
Like I said, I think the 3 at the back scenario is very, very, very unlikely. Very unlikely. But there might be a scenario in his head where he says, I want Pirola to play.
Yeah.
And that means playing 3 centre-backs, because I can't see him doing it with 2. I just can't see him doing that. But again, like I said, very, very, very unlikely scenario, but something that has crossed my mind as a way that Pirola could play.
But then what are you doing in the midfield? You're playing what? 3-5-2. That means you're dropping Velde maybe or Martines. Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's tricky.
And then you have someone on the bench and you can have options to change it up.
Makes sense.
It all depends on the game plan, man. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think the game plan's going to change to like what he did last season in Europe. You're right. Like, what if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, that's how he's going to go out and play.
That's how he won a European trophy. So
I think it's important to also kind of say something about player mentality and like team mentality going into these games. Mentality changes, man. Like, it is good to have games close to each other. A lot of us tend to look at this and say, oh, it's not good because there's not a lot of time for, recovery and training. And these are elite athletes, man. Like that's one. And the second thing is there's nothing better than having another game in front of you to bounce back a few days after a game like today. And a game that's in another competition.
Like some of these players, man, like this is an Olympiacos thing for years that like bring it up another level in Europe. Whether 1, they want to like prove something, 2, they want to get a move, 3, whatever, they're like more up to go against Lyon than they are to play ARIS away, even though it's a very important game for us. And you kind of, this is weird to say, but like your hope is like, can this be like a kickstart to the season? Can this like, can we go to Lyon? Can guys be like, okay, I'm up for this and get a result there, and like we go on, we beat Atromitos, like could that be the thing that kickstarts this season and we like look back and we're like, those were weird first 5 games, that's like best case scenario you're dreaming for, right? But
mate, I'm not gonna lie, like just hearing you talk about that, it makes me think we can go out on Thursday and win, and then come back to Greece and play Atromitos and fuck it up. No. That is a very plausible scenario. In fact, I'm going to make a note of when I said that so I can come back and clip it if we do.
I think someone said it in the chat and they were so right.
Yeah.
Like the team, if you look at it and you analyze it, it's like this team is built better to play counter-attacking direct football in Europe than it is to play against deep block Greek sides.
That's also something maybe some people have misinterpreted a little bit in terms of the football that Mendilibar plays. I think we were very clear about that, what Ari was when he did the analysis video when Mendilibar was announced as the new coach. Like this manager, he likes to play long, he likes to play direct, he likes to play quick, not a lot of emphasis on build up and possession. And it was, to me, it was kind of refreshing last season. Like sometimes just get the ball forward, man. So it'd be a bit more direct, and like it works really well for us in Europe. In Greece, yeah, we still struggled. I remember playing against Panetolikos away. I think we were losing 1-0. We won that game 2-1, like stoppage time at the end. And there were a couple of games like that in the league where we've gone behind and we've kind of clawed it back at the end. Fortuni's penalty, or like El Kabi winners and whatnot. Gelson Martines, I think, saving us a couple of games, coming on as a sub. But yeah, it's Mendilibar was never a manager that played attractive football, like breaking down defenses and scoring 4 or 5 goals. Jogo bonito. That's not what we saw. That isn't what we saw. It's not what we saw in the final against Fiorentina. Does anybody think that did we play beautiful football, or did we play effective at the end of last season? It was effective. And there were good players in a good system that worked, and everything fell together. They were the right players at the right time. Everything just came together last season. That's I was on a friend's podcast the other day, and they were asking me about it. It's like, how did that all happen? It just did. Like the team just clicked. Everything clicked. Everything fell into place. The dominoes fell, and it was perfect. You knew that you could bring Ytic on. He would change the game. You knew that you had a couple of game changers on the bench. Everything fit. And this season, it doesn't yet. And I'm not sure it is going to fit like it did last season. You don't have those. I don't see those game changers on the bench. I see a lot of confusion at the beginning of this season. Confusion over our starting centre-back pairing until Retos gets back. And the big one, I've said it 3 times this episode, and I said it before, central midfield bloody partnership. We need to figure that out. There was a nice comment earlier. I can't remember who it was from. He mentioned, I think it was Nikos R. He said something about, I feel like Muzagidis would allow Chiquinho to play his classic self, kind of like an Orta replacement, and then Due, I feel like, is the best. Yeah, I like that comment.
That's a fucking good comment right there. That's a really good one. I agree.
I really do believe that Muzagidis is one of the most creative midfielders that we have on this roster.
Don't worry, he's playing ARIS U19s, baby.
Do you see how many under 18s had an impact this week in the Champions League?
Don't get us started.
Like Yildiz with Juventus. Okay, Yamal's a category of his own, but there were a lot of players. Under 18 playing Champions League football this week that had a meaningful impact for their teams as starters. But again, guys,
even the winger from ARIS, what was his name? The right winger, man. He's like 18 years old too.
He's from Senegal.
Yeah, the guy who provided the assist is like 18 years old.
The assist for the first goal, yeah, mate. The thing is, tough. Like, we've really got to, as fans, be clear and consistent. You can't be all about, why isn't Muzagidis playing? Why isn't Papacanelos playing? And then when he has a shit game, he's not good enough. We need somebody more experienced. You got to be consistent. And these young lads will have bad games. Everyone makes mistakes. It's the strategy as well that you need to think about long term in terms of producing players, creating players inside your own team, creating value so that you can sell them later too. They're not going to stay here forever. Those days are gone. There's no more Djordjevic. Those kinds of players, Alexandris, Karapialis, whoever your favorite player was. These kids, the good ones, the Hezes, the players that come in at that age, they're going to play 2 seasons, 3 seasons, go, bye-bye. Nobody's got an Olympiacos tattoo on their heart. None of them, okay, maybe, I was going to say none of them were born with Olympiacos duvets in their bedroom. But like, guys, there's a whole world out there, football-wise. The good ones are not going to stay in Greece very long. But let's at least get them out.
But the youth kids, I don't know if we can reiterate this. They were the best in all of Europe. They're the best youth players in all of Europe. It's not like they fluke to win. They commandingly beat the best academies of Europe in Italy, Germany, France. They beat them all, man. Muzagidis had a fantastic preseason. Bakula's the same. This comment from Nick23 is what pisses me off. We have a golden generation of under 19s, and they're out of the team. Playing fucking under 19 football. Not even B team, because our B team got fucking relegated. it is a fucking crime, man. Like, it is the fact that we're like that we're fucking playing Danny Garcia and Biancone in need of a goal. Like, I like Biancone, whatever, but the fact that we're subbing that guy on in 85th minute to get a goal when we have these kids, man, what are we doing here? Like, the thing was, again, the promise that was made, what was communicated to us was that they would play. And that is why we didn't sign Orta. That's why we didn't do this and that. And now they're playing under 19 football. It is a crime, man. Like, it's a fucking crime. Like, I'll live on that one. I'd live on the fucking, it's criminal, man. It's criminal.
And this is what we're probably going to have to deal with in the coming week until the transfer window shuts at the end of the month. Because
if someone's
because I can see it. I can see it already. I can see it already. There was some talk on the radio yesterday about movement for a potential transfer. We've got one of our fans here asking, would you consider Ytic as a solution for low tier Greek teams? If you sign him, it's like, when's the last time he had a proper training with a club? It's like May. And what? Then we're going to bring this guy in or whoever? Like Dele Alli's on a free. Should we bring Dele Alli in? I don't know. Just like, why? I really think any new transfer right now is going above the manager's head.
Yeah.
Like,
if they sign a free player, it's like clearly like, oh my God, we're freaking out. Like, we're fucked.
It's panic buy. 100%.
The reaction to today in Panatolikos should be, we need Mousakitis, we need Bakulas, we need fucking Papakanelos. That's my opinion. The reaction should be like, we need fucking Yasici or Unas, who it's the end of September and like they're nowhere to be seen. Like they can't sign anywhere. The reaction needs to be, let's do some internal revisions and let's say we need these guys in to spark some fucking energy into the team. Another fact is, like, we only have one Greek outfield player now in Doi. Like, Tolakis plays in goal. Yeah. You think Christopher Velde gets up for a game against ARIS and Thessaloniki? Like, I think he'll be a decent player. I think he'll be good. No. You know who would, like, love to play against ARIS in Thessaloniki? Mousakitis, man. Like, Bakulas, it would be like a game of their dreams to go up there and go play. And instead they're playing under 19 football. Anyway, I'm done ranting about that. Like, my rant is not where the fans want the rant to be, but sorry about that, everyone. Like, they want it to be at management. Like, make a new signing. We need a fucking winger now.
No.
But my anger with them is that they fucking promised these youngsters would get a chance, and we counted on them, and we built our roster assuming that they would get a chance and play. And then, as you know what happened? Like, as soon as the season come around, like, we reverted back to typical Olympiacos. We shit the bed. Like, we're like, oh my God, we can't play these young players. Like, we can't do it. It's like typical Greeks. Like, oh my God, we can't play these young players because, like, what happens if it goes wrong? We need to fucking sign 35-year-old Sergio Oliveira, who also I don't think is that bad. But you know what I mean? Like, they were like, all summer, they were like, we like these youngsters. They're playing good. They're going to be part of our team. And then August 27th came and they were like, oh, fuck. We're going to have to trust these guys to play. That's what it looks like right now. And until they show something different, that's what it is. So they need to put their fucking trust in these young kids, or else they're fucked, in my opinion. They're really fucked. Because Yasici is not walking through that door. What is that his name? Yasici. Yeah. Yasici is not walking that door and saving this fucking team for creativity issues.
No.
They need to figure out from within. So if they go sign Unas or Yasici thinking like they're going to be saving them, Godspeed to all of us. Like, God rest us, you know? So
You know,
Let's
I'm
see
with
if
you
it's
on that one. But do you think Olympiacos fans are ready for that? Are they ready to support these
It doesn't
youngsters?
fucking matter what they're ready for or what they're not. The fact of the matter is, if they don't do this now, this club will never support any young player, man. Like we need this. We need this so bad. We need this. We need this. It doesn't matter what the fans are. It's 2024, man. Like if the fans can't handle an under 19 playing, we just saw Yamal win a European championship at 17 years old and be probably the best player in the tournament. And Greek people are like, oh, Musakitis has to keep playing the ARIS under 19 because we have Danny Garcia. We are ready as a fan base for Musakitis Bakulas. What we are not ready for is fucking Danny Garcia and players who are fine in their own right, but we want to see these players. They just won the Champions League. Like, we need to be clear about that. Like, maybe it doesn't get across the Champions League of youth football behind these guys. We need to use them.
We have 3 academy starters. What are you talking about? Okay.
Yeah. Zolakis,
who's the third? Zolakis and Doi today. The third one too.
Retsos
when he's fit. Fair.
Yeah. Okay.
But look at the reactions to Retsos last season. Look at what Zolakis had to endure to actually become a starter. Anyway, it's nearly 2 o'clock.
Yeah,
Greek
so we
time
need to
in the morning. Been going for an hour and a half.
We need to call it.
Should we wrap it up?
We should wrap it up. Guys, it's not the end of the world. It could be the beginning of the end. But it's not. Hopefully. We won the Conference League last season. We are European champions. It's not looking good right now.
Man. It feels like that could be quite damaging for us this season in general. And I know the chairman went into the locker room after the last game, and I think it's an important point. It's like that could be detrimental. If like when you win something like that, or just like when you win, you have to erase it if you want to win again. Yeah. You get too happy, like you lose that kind of fire in your belly. You need that, but they need to find that fire in their belly again.
Who in our side has won a Greek Super League with Olympiacos, other than Retsos and maybe Zorlakis, who never played?
None of them.
Masuras?
Apart from Retsos and Zorlakis.
Masuras.
Yeah. But like you said,
are these guys champions? Like they know what it's going to take to win a title this year. We have guys who can do that. That's something that we haven't talked about, but anyway.
Rodine's won things.
He's not won a Greek title.
No, he hasn't won it. No, I mean, it's like winners, like looking on the pitch, like who's won championships.
Danny Garcia has won a cup last season.
He won a cup last season. I don't know if Carmo won a championship with Porto, perhaps. Doi hasn't won anything with us. Ortega hasn't won anything. Hez hasn't won anything. Valdez won the league. Did they win the league
in Portugal?
In Poland last season?
Poland,
I'm not sure.
Maybe. It's a question. It's right. It's a question.
Yeah. But again, like I think we as a fan base also need to kind of not bury it, but just like, okay, we need to stop having that over the team all season,
Yeah.
It's like that's gone. That's behind us. We need to drive forward and think about the future. Not the future, we need to think about now.
Yeah.
We need to start winning. We want to win the bloody league.
How many years has it been now since we won the league?
It will be the third time. It will be the third season without winning.
Yeah. That's too much. So
is too much. And then it can become habit.
Yeah. Okay, guys. I think that's it.
It would have been better to end on a more positive note, but I think things will change on Thursday. I think our luck will change on Thursday.
Yeah.
That's about as positive as I'm going to get now.
I think it's going to be a really sketchy few weeks.
You've got to be ready for everything these next few weeks, innit?
We got to be ready. We could win in Lyon. We could hit the ground running, or we could lose. We have a must-win game against Thessaloniki at home, and then we have another game against. It's going to be a tough few weeks. So
we're third currently in the standings with 10 points. Balk has the same amount of games as us, and they have 13, so they're 3 points ahead of us. Ytic have a game in hand, and if I'm not mistaken, they play Garcia tomorrow.
Yes, in Leo Forest.
Garcia has been a tricky opponent for everyone so far this season.
They won't be tricky for Ytic, though.
Yeah, okay, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but anyway. Yeah. They play Garcia tomorrow. What else is going on tomorrow?
I'm just gonna guess that Ytic wins 4-0. I don't know why.
So then that will take Ytic to 13 points as well. Yeah. So we're basically 3 points off the top. Panathinaikos play Panserikos. Panathinaikos currently Panathinaikos are on 5 points, so they can go up to 8 and tie with ARIS in 4th place. Okay, nobody won the league in the first 5 games of the season.
No.
And if anything, the last 2 seasons show us that, it can go down to the wire and teams will drop points here and there. There is also a famous saying, I can't remember who it was from, about the Greek league. Nobody won the league in the first 4 games of the season, but teams have lost it in the first 4 games of the season too. I don't want to be that extreme. I think cool heads. It's been disappointing last couple of games. Disappointing to lose today when we were all expecting a reaction. Hopefully that reaction just got postponed to Thursday. And I think Thursday is going to be an entirely different game. We're going to see an entirely different team. And then hopefully this doesn't get clipped and shown to me after Thursday night as well in a bad way. But before Thursday's game, one last time before we shut it down, like and subscribe. We're going to be back with some preview for the Lyon game. We'll be talking to some guys from French Football TV later on this week ahead of the Thursday game. That's at 9:00 Central European time, I believe. Yeah. On Thursday, it's late kickoff away to Lyon.
Some gates are closed there as well for fan trouble. So
yeah, that's from the West Ham game, I think it was. Leave us some comments. Let us know if you're watching this after the live stream. Leave us comments. Let us know what you thought about today's game, what you're looking forward to. Any comments about the channel, some things that you'd like to see. Again, and don't forget to like. That really helps the channel, guys. Costs you nothing, means everything to us. The red and white community continues to grow. We broke 10,000 followers on Instagram recently. Thank you to everybody that supports us there. Go and check it out if you're not following us on Instagram yet. On YouTube, we're on the road to 6,000 subscribers. If you're joining us for the first time, we're Thrilos International, your #1 English source for all things Olympiacos. Signing off here, Labros. Anything else?
Stay positive. Maybe our luck chains in France. Maybe we can pull something out.
Amen. Ade. See you guys next week. Have a good night, good morning, wherever you are. Thrilos International tuning out. See you next time, guys.